To understand the Vietnam War, we must first look to the world that existed before it, a world shaped by empire, war, and occupation. For nearly a century, Vietnam had lived under French colonial rule, part of the vast territories collectively known as French Indochina, which included present-day Laos and Cambodia. France came to Vietnam in the mid-19th century, seeking to expand its influence, access valuable resources, and compete with other European powers. They established plantations, built railroads, and created administrative centers in cities such as Hanoi, Saigon, and Hue. The colonial system reshaped Vietnamese society. Traditional social structures were disrupted, and economic inequality intensified. The French extracted wealth from the land, profited from rubber plantations, and tightly controlled industry. Meanwhile, the majority of the population, farmers, laborious, and rural villagers, faced poverty, forced labor, and heavy taxes. These conditions would plant the seeds of resistance that would later define the war. During the 1940s, the world underwent seismic shifts. In 1940, France itself fell to Nazi Germany. With the European powers weakened, Japan seized the opportunity to occupy Vietnam, sidelining the French administration while keeping them nominally in power. The Japanese occupation lasted until 1945, during the final months of World War II. Under Japanese rule, Vietnam experienced widespread famine. In northern regions, particularly the Red River Delta, millions of people faced starvation. Some estimates suggest that more than 2 million Vietnamese died from hunger during this period. The suffering created an intense desire for change, a yearning for independence, and a readiness for revolutionary movements. Amid this turmoil, a leader emerged who would shape Vietnam's future: Ho Chi Minh. Ho Chi Minh was no ordinary revolutionary. He had traveled the world, studying political systems in France, working with communist groups in Moscow and China, and returning to Vietnam with a vision of national independence fused with socialist ideals. In 1941, he founded the Viet Minh, short for Vietnam CLP Ng Minh Hai, or the League for the Independence of Vietnam. The organization was designed to resist foreign domination, whether French or Japanese, and unite the Vietnamese people under a common cause. The Viet Minh combined military strategy with grassroots politics. They mobilized villages, recruited young men and women, and organized clandestine education programs. By emphasizing both nationalism and communist ideology, Ho Chi Minh created a movement that appealed to the broader population while maintaining strong ties with international communist powers. When Japan surrendered in August 1945, Vietnam was left in a power vacuum. The French, eager to reclaim their colony, returned to Hanoi. But before they could fully establish control, Ho Chi Minh and the Viet Minh acted. On September 2, 1945, in Ba Dinh Square, Hanoi, Ho declared the birth of the Democratic Republic of Vietnam. He spoke to his people with words that resonated across the globe, quoting the United States Declaration of Independence. All men are created equal. The Creator has given us certain inalienable rights: life, liberty, and happiness. The declaration was more than symbolic. It was a direct challenge to the returning French and a statement to the international community: Vietnam would no longer accept foreign domination. But the French were not willing to relinquish their empire so easily. Despite the proclamation of independence, they sought to reassert control over their Southeast Asian colony. This clash between Vietnamese nationalist aspirations and European colonial ambition set the stage for the First Indochina War, a conflict that would last nearly a decade and lay the foundation for the larger Vietnam War to come. In the years that followed, Ho Chi Minh's leadership and the Viet Minh's organization would allow a relatively small force to challenge a well-equipped colonial army. They relied on guerrilla tactics, knowledge of the terrain, and the unwavering support of rural communities. The conflict became not just a military struggle, but a battle for the hearts and minds of the Vietnamese people. By the mid-1940s, the world was watching a nation emerge from the shadow of empires. In Vietnam, centuries of colonial exploitation, the devastation of war, and the famine of occupation had produced a single, undeniable truth: the Vietnamese people would fight to determine their own destiny. And so, as the First Indochina War loomed on the horizon, the stage was set. A small but determined revolutionary movement would face the might of France and eventually the attention of the world's superpowers. The fall of empire in Vietnam was not just the end of French colonial rule, it was the beginning of a struggle that would engulf generations, drawing in nations far beyond Southeast Asia.